InFamous is a game that holds a very special and dear place in my heart. I've been playing the series for as long as I can really remember and have played the later games more times than I can count. As someone who absolutely loves the idea of electrical powers, a game that is basically just an electrical powered power fantasy really struck a chord with me even through my current years of life. Now, I've gone through and played these games a whole lot, and for all but the first one, I think I've gotten the platinum, but this video is going to be me going through and doing just that. I'm going to be going through and getting a platinum for the game that, of all the games, I never managed to get. Which honestly is kind of crazy to me because the first game is really the one that set it all off, as franchises generally tend to. And seeing as how this is the first video of this style that I'm going to be doing, there is going to be a lot of hiccups and bumps along the road. I know there have been many issues with audio not recording, and I keep missing different achievements. There's probably like 12 different achievements that I accidentally missed recording, which I'll get into more later into the video. But this is really a passion project for me and one that I want to push through to completion. So despite these bumps and hiccups, I'm going to push through and just try to better myself as a content creator, even if that's not what I end up doing. And to that end, I do want to go through and play all of the games to completion, getting the platinums for all of them. This video is only going to be me going through and doing the first video. I had intended on doing all of them in this one video, but it turned out to be a way bigger project than I had in mind, and the video would have ended up being like a 10-hour long video. Not really, don't worry, but still it was going to be crazy.
Activation plus 6 minutes. Pulse is 45. Respiration 10. Looking good, Cole.
After what has to be one of the hardest cold opening sequence of like any game that I have played, it keeps up the tension in this early sequence very well. We find ourselves in the middle of a giant crater in a city, with the only thing being untouched, our main character, Cole, who, after a bit of disorientation and a quick tutorial, has to run his way over to a parking garage, which is the only seemingly stable structure within eyesight that he can safely get to. However, not long after he enters that, things start to get a little interesting.
What the hell? Should be dead.
Here's where we get our first taste of the things that are to come and the powers our main character can be expected to wield. This is honestly a pretty good introduction to what players can expect if they didn't look into any promotional materials for the game, and serves as a good build-up for tension as this happens a second. I'd like to leave. Good thing I won't get shocked over by this live. And eventually a third time, which ends up resulting in dangerous consequences.
Go! Over here, man! We gotta go!
Oh wait, I forgot subtitles.
No! No! No!
Oh, I'll miss you.
It's the come on, move it!
I'm right, I don't have static thrusters yet.
Move your ass, Cole! This whole bridge is coming down!
Makes it just far enough. It's from here that the game really gets started, and I'll start chopping things up a bit more since So the next place we find ourselves is in our buddy Zeke's hideout on the top of a building where the game gives us a bit of tutorial on how to use Cole's powers. From there, we get a little bit of an introduction into the world and how things are going on, before suddenly we see a supply drop being dropped for the city. Immediately, Zeke and Cole begin to make preparations to investigate the supply drop, and it's here that we get introduced to the first new power that the game has to offer. From there, we make our way over to the plaza where the supplies have been dropped, and here we have to partake in a quick climbing tutorial in order to get up to the supplies. Once we do, however, that is where we get to meet the main enemies and have our first battle encounter of the game. Now that we're getting into it, I do want to make it known that I am actually not the best when it comes to the combat in this game. I don't know if it's because I'm streaming the game, so it's coming through like a PS3 from somewhere else or whatnot, but I just have a hard time hitting the opponents, especially where I want, quite a bit. This is especially prevalent in this because my first playthrough is in the hard difficulty in order to get the hard achievement, which in hindsight was not exactly the best idea. Now, even though I did say that I am not great at this game, this is exactly where I think I get my first achievement. See, my account already had a few achievements on it, and so there are a few that I have to manually put up, but I do believe this is one of them, so hopefully I'm not wrong, which is funny because it's for me getting a headshot, screw you all. After the first combat encounter of the game, we are introduced to one of the many karmic choices the game has to offer, each of which give their own achievements for main story ones. Karma has a couple of impacts on the story, but mostly it's seen in the abilities, some of which are locked behind whether or not you have good or bad karma, or the level of which your karma is at. For the first karmic choice of the game, Cole has to choose between taking all of the food from the supply drop for himself so that him and his loved ones can eat, or allowing other people to get them so more people don't starve. It is here that I do want to make it clear that for the first playthrough of the game, I am doing it on the good karma playthrough, just because that's my favorite one, and as such, I just wanted to start with it, so that's just what we're gonna do.
Aw, thanks.
After Cole lets everyone get the food that they need, the public is informed that the explosion that caused all the pain that they are in was caused by Cole himself. The citizens then begin to turn hostile against him, and from here Cole and Zeke need to take off and head towards the one bridge that's supposed to lead them out of town in order to find safety. Once they make it to the bridge, however, they meet an oppressive force that tries to stop them, and Cole has to choose whether or not to fire from inside the crowd to ensure his safety, or run out in front and take the heat so no one gets hurt. From here, there is a gauntlet of enemies to get past, leading people towards their freedom, until finally you reach the end and all hell breaks loose. From here we get to the main premise of the game. We meet a lady called Moira, and she tells us that we need to help her find her husband and bring back peace to this town that we've helped break. After agreeing, she allows us to leave, and we make our way back into the city and begin getting to work. As we are making our way under the bridge back towards the city, we are introduced to the main collectible that this game has to offer. They are chunks of earth empowered by the Ray Sphere, which is the thing that gave Cole his powers in the first place. Well, at least amplified them, that's a whole thing. And the more of them we collect, the higher the maximum amount of energy we have for like grenades and our abilities and whatnot. A quick thing I wasn't really going to mention but decided I should for reasons that will become clear later, we find ourselves talking to Zeke and telling him everything that's going on, and as anyone in his situation could really expect, he begins telling Cole that he needs the Ray Sphere himself in order to get powers so he can help out. Now we get introduced to the game's power menu, which I'm only really bringing up because it's important for quite a few different achievements, as well as ways to make the game easier over time. Here we use experience points that we gather throughout doing missions, killing people, this, that, and the other thing, in order to add new effects or just empower the abilities that we have. After doing some exploration, which of course I did because I can't help myself and it's kind of the whole reason I'm doing these videos in the first place, we make our way over to one of a set of missions that more or less are used to add a few more collectibles or simply progress the story in order to find Moya's husband. Most of them act as great ways to introduce the player towards exploring and traversing the world and getting used to all the enemies and just how it'll feel to play throughout the game. The first mission that I chose to do is the one that introduces the player to the Dead Drop collectibles, which are audio recordings left behind by Moyo's husband, and tells the player lore of what's really going on, which I gotta admit I didn't ever really pay attention to, so I am sorry about that. After that, I do the mission that basically just introduces the player to the side mission mechanic, which you'll find a person around, accept their mission, and after doing it, you clear out the section and take control of that territory, which basically just reduces enemy spawns in that zone. On my way to the next main mission, I also found myself doing a side mission that I was very good at and didn't at all die to in any way, shape, or form, because I'm very, very good at this game. The next story mission is honestly an incredibly dense one. Moya needs us to find someone of use to her, and when we go to where he was last found, all we can see there is a dead woman. After Cole pulls some random I can see memories bullshit that allows him to track this person, we find ourselves in a gang fight of Reapers in a section of a substation power plant kind of thing. After the fight, a Reaper blows up the substation and the entire area completely loses power. This serves as another tutorial to unlocking new areas, and we're directed down into the sewers. Here we get our first look at Cole achieving new powers on screen during the story. Basically, he just touches this zappy thing and boom, learns new powers out of nowhere, which makes sense. And after traversing through the sewer, we finally find the man that Moya was looking for. Here we have another karmic choice. We can either fry him and get him out of our way, or we can let him know his wife is dead, so there's nothing that he's protecting.
Tell him.
He's dead. They shot her.
How do you know her name?
I know this is hard. I saw her body. There was nothing anyone could do.
I knew I shouldn't have trusted her. I'm so sorry, Lene.
After getting past him, we find a large power station generating thingy that is in the sewer, which I don't know if that's how that works in real life or not, I don't really care. And we bring power to it, which subsequently brings power back to the entire area. Another few things that I want to point out real quick on the more collectible side of things is throughout the map, mixed in with the side missions, there are missions that are specifically made based around the player's karma. For instance, in certain areas of the map, there are two different side missions located relatively close together, one for good karma, one for bad karma, and whichever one karma path that you're on is the mission that you'll do. In doing this, you unlock a specific power for Cole based on the karma that you're doing and the amount of good side missions that you complete. There is a one for evil karma, but we'll obviously get to that when we get to the bad karma stuff, and as such, they are crucial missions to make sure to do even on non-100% playthroughs. Now we find ourselves doing another one of those powering the city missions, which I do think they are important since they always begin with Cole getting powers. And this brings us into a power down section, so Cole has to find himself going back down to the sewers. Here he gets access to the shock grenade ability, which is really fun to use, but realistically doesn't make a lot of sense. It allows him to throw a ball of electricity that just kind of explodes, and I guess sometimes it sticks to things, but only enemies for some reason, cause why not? And after obtaining this reality warping grenade, Cole manages to power yet another large section of the city. After powering the new part of the city and getting access to the electric grenade, I decided I was going to take some time and do a whole load of the side missions. Now, these are really useful, especially on the hard difficulty, because they allow for the people to not spawn in quite as much, which is real nice for exploring, because now I don't have to worry about them being there and killing me and being general all-around dicks. Finally, after doing like an hour of side missions and exploring, we find ourselves at the next big mission. Here, we find out that the Reapers have contaminated the water supply and it's getting people sick. Here we find Trish, who I just realized I forgot to mention was Cole's girlfriend who broke up with him after she found out he caused the blast that killed her sister, long story, and she's trying to help heal the sick people. It's then after figuring out what's going on that it's decided Cole needs to turn off the valve that's supplying the water, but in doing so, Cole gets splashed with the very weird goop that they're trying to get people off of. Here we meet Sasha, who is very much an important character and isn't only useful for the first area's boss fight whatsoever. And with the help of Trish, Cole gets the stuff off of him, but he has more valves to go and find out in the park. Except this time, he doesn't have Trish to help him out. I gotta rant a little bit here, because I hate any mission in this game that has to do with Sasha's weird, stupid goop thing. It's just always a bad time, and I always get frustrated, and it's always a pain in the ass, and I don't like dealing with that damn goop. I can't move! After turning off the valves inside the park, our helpers, yes, that's what I'm calling them, have tracked down where the weird goop is coming from and sends Cole down there to destroy it, finally getting rid of the hazard in the water. During some more exploration after the lovely goop mission, I've finally gotten another one of the game's achievements, getting me closer to the end of this way too long project. After even more exploring, we finally get to go and power another chunk of the city. This time, however, we get our hands on arguably the best power in the entire game, which is, of course, gliding along powered things, I guess. Look, not only does it look cool, but it severely makes this game so much easier to traverse, which, holy crap, did it need. I'm just glad the developers put it in this early, because otherwise, trying to traverse the map, especially in the later segments, would have become an absolute tedious mess. The next thing that the game has in store for us is for Cole to return power to the island's train system. This mission, while not making a lot of sense logically, is just kinda whatever. Cole rides on top of the train, which powers it to move forward, but sometimes you need to go below to power these little boxes, as if the train doesn't have an infinite energy source standing on top of it. But I guess you are trying to power the system for when he's not on it, whatever. Now, I know playing this level really grinded my gears, which I'm noticing is a big pattern in the early parts of this game, and that comes down to, like, the earlier in the game, Cole is just so weak, and the game just gets exponentially easier as the game continues, which is funny because the enemies just become relentless bullet sponges, but it's just so much easier to take care of them because you have so many more options. I guess I did forget to mention the entire reason Cole was powering the train system was to try and find Moya's husband, but after finally rerouting the system, we find that he is not there. I'm really dropping the ball with this one. I also get an achievement at the end of this mission. Completely forgot about that, but there we go. Next on the list, we meet up with Trish again, and she's trying to save more people, and god damn it, is that the goop again? Nope. I'm done. I'm out. In this mission, the Reapers are dumping more of the goop directly into different areas' water towers in order to infect more people. Cole has to get up on top and blast the things away that are, pushing in the goop in order to save them, but it also causes them to get all over Cole. Are you fucking kidding me? Now, this mission was not at all annoying, and at no point at all did I get any sort of mad. Are we fucking serious? Anyways, once you get rid of the machine off the last tower, we get to meet Kessler, who is this super cool dude that I totally love to play in a DLC if that ever came out. Sucker punch. But we do learn that it was actually him who orchestrated the entire thing with the ray sphere, causing the explosion that we saw in the beginning that gave Cole his powers. But we also see a vision of the future that doesn't look that great. After getting totally not at all frustrated with the game, because I am in fact a god gamer, I decided to take a moment, totally not to cool off, to do some achievement hunting for a little bit, because why not? It's easy enough to do with some of these achievements. After that, I ran my way over to another mission to power a part of the Neon District in order to get access to a power that's honestly pretty good, but becomes completely obsolete in the later game. And finally, we have the last segment of the first area fully powered. Then, while doing a bunch of side stuff in my new fancy area, I managed to get my hands on one of those sweet, succulent achievements. Oh, this damn mission. Fuck me. Honestly, that's all that really needs to be said about this mission. You're protecting medical supplies from Reapers for Trish, and it sucks. Moving on. Next up, we get to actually meet Sasha for the first time. After getting into a tunnel between two of the city's islands, we see that the Reapers are actually just brainwashed civilians, and once we find that out, we put a stop to it by fighting with Sasha, where she does some weird, freaky mouth tentacle thing. I don't know, don't ask.
Keep talking.
Smash. What? But we ultimately beat her. That is, before suddenly a group of people bail her out, and in an attempt to survive, we find ourselves in the second main area of the game.
With no way back, I went forward into the slums of the Warren.
It's also here that we get another achievement for fully clearing out the Neon District.
I wish. Beat the living hell out of her. But some guys in masks.
First things first, after some exploring, we find our way into the first substation in the second area of the game, giving me access to what has to be one of my favorite abilities in the game, at least mobility-wise, the static thrusters. It's also in this sewer that I decided I was going to take some time to grind for another achievement, as I saw off a guide that this was the best place to try and get it, and boy were they not wrong. Okay. After doing what must have been, like, no joke, 2 hours of me running around, collecting things and doing side missions, I managed to get a hold of yet another achievement in the second area, without doing a single mission past powering the first place. Which one is that? The next mission really only serves as a way to introduce the new types of conduits to the player, and the only real reason I'm even showing it is because in it you make a decision on what poster you want to represent you to the people, and it comes with an achievement.
I like that one.
Right on. I'll print up more of those and start hanging them all over the city. It's gonna be awesome.
Whoa.
Cheek is never.
Then the mission after that is really just a drawn out way to connect the Neon District to the Warren. Also a bit annoying, but whatever. Then, after cutting out yet another, like, hour-long collectible session, Cole gets his hands on some electric missiles, because why wouldn't he? The next mission, we find out that the Dustmen have captured Zeke in order to get at Cole, which he doesn't take very kindly to. After Cole slaughters his way through an entire fortress because, let's be honest, he's a badass, we manage to save Zeke, though Cole is angry that he let himself be in a position to be captured in the first place. After that, we help Moya shoot down some pesky neighbor kids' drones because they were flying a bit too close to our house, during which I even managed to get yet another achievement because I'm really good at pushing people off of roofs. After Trish gives us a call, we help her escort medical supplies by shooting explosives at people from the top of a bus. When we finally make it to the hospital, we get our first glimpse at this place's big villain, whose name is... Alright, Alden. And after he leaves, we find our way up to save Trish, where she falls in love with us again, totally not only because we saved her. After finding out that Alden has killed a cop, we painstakingly follow him to a town where I get an achievement for just walking in. Look at that. After fighting our way through, we find ourselves face to face with yet another new conduit this game has to offer, the Mecha Tall Bullet Sponge. Yay. but the cops do manage to take Alden into custody. During the following mission, where I'm destroying shooty buses the dustmen made in order to get back at the police for taking Alden, I managed to get yet another achievement before then heading into the mission, where, long story short, Cole kills a lot of people in an attempt to stop the dustmen from breaking Alden out of jail, and fails. It's also here that Cole lectures Zeke for not staying back with Alden and blames him for Alden getting loose, but the people who broke Alden out killed 5 different police officers, so I don't really know what Zeke could have done there, and it just kind of feels like a fake way to add tension into their relationship. Then, powering up another chunk of the Warren, Cole gets his hands on honestly a very useful ability whose upgrades I decided to purchase totally didn't screw me up later in the playthrough. Then we try and meet up with the fabled John, Moya's husband, and after following a helicopter that was chasing him, we find him just for him to run away. During a phone call after the mission, we find out that Moya isn't John's wife and she was lying to us the whole time. He then also tells us that Alden has run away to the top of his tower and we need to make our way up there with someone we trust. After calling up Zeke, we make our way up Alden's tower, and after a really easy fight, we manage to get our hands on the ray sphere. Immediately, Zeke tries to use the ray sphere after Kessler shows up, and when nothing happens, Zeke runs away with Kessler. Feeling alone and frustrated, Cole runs after Kessler, and after what has to be one of the easiest boss fights of my entire life, we make our way into the final area of the game. There, I do some exploring and manage to get my hands on a couple more easy, just run around achievements. It's also at this point in editing the video that I realized I had somehow missed 10 different instances of achievements throughout this video, and would have to comb back through 12 hours of footage just to try and find them, and I don't have the time for that. Because of that, those achievements won't be shown in this video, but I'll try to make sure I'm showing the rest of them from now on, and do have a method thought up to try and stop this from happening more in the future. I understand this is very amateurish and not great, and I'm sorry for that. It's just what ended up happening. After going full hog on exploring as soon as I got to the historical district, I moved finally on to the next main mission, which is a dense one. It starts out relatively simple, with John telling Cole that he needs to lower the drawbridge back to the Neon District so that if the worst happened, he had an out back to safety. However, once he lowers the drawbridge, he gets a call from Kessler telling him he had to learn how to pay the price or something. I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention. Then, after fighting off an army of dudes and wandering around for so long because my game glitched and didn't tell me which bomb was the next one, Kessler reveals his final test. Cole can either choose to save a bunch of doctors who could do a whole lot of good in the world, but at the cost of the woman he loves, or save her and damn all the other doctors. After the world's most rigged trolley problem, Trish falls and dies, but not before she tells Cole just how proud she is of him and the hero he's become. And it's as he's burying her in a cutscene that we get ourselves yet another achievement. Next up, we power the final area of the game within the historical district, and get our hands on, honestly, a pretty strong and fun to look at power. And afterwards, I went myself achievement hunting and snagged a couple of achievements. After way too long of just running around the map looking for the last blast shards, I move on to the next mission of the game, which really is just trying to get on top of some particularly smelly balloons and disabling them. After that, I begin kind of speed running through the story. From there, we ride with John in a supercharged helicopter thingy going around destroying jammers so that John can locate the ray sphere. After that, with the location of the ray sphere, Cole works to get rid of some First Son, SAM turret things so that John can drop a weird, chemical bomb. I don't know. Then, since they were forced to move the ray sphere, Cole follows their transport truck to a weird harbor kind of thing, I guess. From there, Cole fights his way up past a bunch of guys until he makes his way to the ray sphere. From there, John and Cole decide to destroy it, and after Cole uses an ion storm, things kinda go wrong. Instead of breaking the casing, allowing them to get access to the ray sphere, the entire mechanism, activates or something along those lines and sort of implodes, taking part of the pier and John with it, leaving nothing more than some dust as Cole scrambles back towards safer ground. As I'm sure many people probably noticed during that last segment, I also did get an achievement during the story cutscene. I just didn't want to interrupt the flow of the story before announcing it, kind of thing, you know. After killing John in accidental cold blood, Cole makes his way over to fight Kessler, and I gotta say, this had to be one of the most frustrated I've gotten fighting a boss in a long time. So to commemorate my own stupidity, I will play a quick compilation of some of the highlighted moments from this fight. And no, parents, if you're watching this, these words didn't come out of my mouth, trust me. What the fuck just happened? Are we fucking serious? Are we?
I looked down at Kessler, reveling in my victory. And then I heard him whisper, "Trish, I love you. Please forgive me." Then he was on me, fingers digging into my face. As Kessler's secrets played out in my head, I finally began to understand. I saw his nemesis, a beast intent on extinguishing all life. In those early days, Kessler could have used his powers to stop it, but instead he fled with his family, leaving others to fend for themselves. Hunted for years, Kessler and his family watched as the rest of the world went to hell. And then it was too late. Too late to fight. Too late to save anyone. In that moment of failure and grief, he used his newest and most dangerous power. He went on a one-way trip back in time, attempting to rewrite history. Yet the thing that drove him forward, Kessler's sole link to the past, was a picture from his wedding day, when he married Trish, with Zeke as his best man. My brain lurched, unable to accept that Kessler and I were the same person. That he'd come back in time to mold me into the savior he failed to be, going so far as to kill the woman he loved, I loved, so that I wouldn't be tied down by emotions. No, Kessler wanted me strong, ruthless, so that when I faced the beast, I'd be capable of making impossible decisions, all for the common good.
And that was the story of the first Infamous game. Now, that's not where this video ends, obviously, but I do want to take a quick moment and say that when I first learned that Kessler was Cole, it blew my mind because I didn't see it coming and I was taken completely by surprise. Nowadays, people would call it cliche, and it may have even been back then, but it still honestly got me pretty good and made me really fall in love with the game a bit more than I already was. Now, with that out of the way, we're not done here, so we got some more stuff to do, and we'll start that off by getting a bunch of achievements for finishing the game. Along with the one for grinding on the rails for long enough. And once I'm done with that, heading out and clearing out the historical district. After that, I ran into what I thought was going to end up being a very big, insurmountable issue. You see, I had left myself with one upgrade left to get for the achievement, and it was the 15,000 XP upgrade. And, well, at this point in the game, there wasn't really a whole lot to do to get XP. So, I was so worried that I was just going to have to run around knocking over pedestrians and healing them for 3 XP over and over and over again until I built up to 15,000. Luckily, I ended up coming up with a way more efficient method and ended up reloading an earlier part of the save file and just save scumming a side mission to get the XP that I needed. And after retrekking through the story a bit to get access to all the upgrades I could get, I managed to get myself the achievement. The next thing I'll have us go through is the ending of my journey to get the blast shards. See, before I even finished the game, I made my rounds of the map to see if I could find the last few ones and got myself down to one. And after getting frustrated, I decided I would finish out the story and then go back to finding them afterwards, which was probably the right call, but was still very annoying. I followed multiple different online maps. I followed 3 different channels walking me through each location, literally just clips of them picking them up in each different spot. I went on several different subreddits, and I could not find any. I even got to the point where, for my evil playthrough, I went back through with an online map and marked off every single time I picked up a blast shard to get them all, and still missed some. So I went back to my original save to try and find this last one, and I ran around a few more times, pinging off my radar and everything. And when that didn't help at all, I then found this IGN guide, and within 30 minutes, found it in the Neon District on the side of the building, out in the open. And I was so mad. All of this time trying to find this thing, and it was out in the open. I could ping it from the floor, I could ping it from the rooftops, and I missed it like 8 different times. But in getting it, I managed to get the blast shard achievement. Please. Oh my god. Finally! I do want to make a quick aside for the second Evil playthrough. See, for this one, I'm only really going to be going over the achievements and not really any of the story, since I don't feel like enough changed for me to go back over it. In fact, really the only differences between the good and bad story is some voice clips, either on the phone or in cutscenes, calling Cole a bad person, and the fact that he gets grosser over time, or pedestrians attack him or whatnot as the game progresses with him getting eviler. And honestly, the coolest thing that I really care about with the evil side is when you have the race where you can choose to absorb it for more power, and in doing so you get this sick-ass black and red lightning, and I love that so much.
Reason for me to leave. This is my city.
Oh!
Every inch of it, and no one.
Now moving on to the achievements, we got our first one for Cole scaring away the people when they're trying to get food.
Just hauled out of here pronto.
Hey, Trish.
What's
It's
wrong?
already red
People
lightning?
are starving, and
That's
you're
nice.
stealing the only food they've seen in days?
I did it for us. To make sure we're taken care of.
I don't get you sometimes.
The next one is for creating a riot by shooting from within the crowd. After that is getting one for getting the trains running, but evil this time. Then the one for picking the evil poster in that one mission.
And start hanging them all over the city. It's gonna be awesome.
Zeke is never gonna believe this one.
Then when escorting Trish on the medical bus, she yells at you, and we get one for her hating us.
There are rumors that a large-scale conflict might erupt between the cops and the Warren, and the dust.
Quick achievement break.
Stand down, John. This operation's been terminated.
I didn't know I was gonna do that.
Stand down.
Then one for reaching full negative karma. Oh yeah. Followed by one for killing Trish, much unlike the good one's version of the achievement where you killed Trish. Another achievement break. After that, we get the achievement for getting all the evil upgrades. Getting the achievement for reaching 100 bio leeches. Yeah! Okay, cool. I don't have to do this anymore.
Because of me, Empire City is a wasteland. I've taken this place down notch by notch, and it's never getting up again. Kessler thought he was preparing me to face some beast, but I'd be using my powers for the greater good. What an idiot. These powers are only good for one thing. Letting me take what I want, when I want. In a place with no law, the strong take what they want, and the weak are their slaves, their playthings. And no one is stronger than me.
And finally, getting all the achievements for beating the game, including the platinum. Yes! Oh, I'm done. Oh my god, that took way too long. That was my journey to Platinum Infamous. It was a very messy process, and I made a lot of mistakes and took absolutely forever on this, but honestly, I had a blast recording this playthrough. It was a lot of fun going back and fully completing one of the more prominent games from my childhood, and I'm glad that I managed to pull through and complete it. Now, I do plan on doing all the rest of these games in the series, but in order to stop myself from getting completely burnt out and stopping these altogether, I decided it would be good to split them up a bit and play a different style game in this fashion before moving on to the next title. And with that, this is the end of the video. I hope everyone enjoyed, and if there's anything I can do to make them better, let me know. Adios.